Hey guys, what's up? What is up, pups? How you guys doing? Let me make sure that everything's working. Sweet. But yeah, how's it going, guys? How are you guys? We are live on Rumble and YouTube, so thank you to everyone who's hanging out. Got 6 viewers over on Rumble, thank you. And then we'll see what we can get on YouTube. Oh man, I need to hit keto harder and hit that gym. Look at that. Fucking fat. But yes, yeah, some interesting stuff happening in the old pop culture area. Some craziness involving voice acting, localization, video games, and whatnot. I'm not exactly sure if I'm not exactly sure how long the show is going to be for tonight, but I got some topics that I definitely want to look into, talk about, see what's up. Definitely should not be drinking soda, because we get all bubbly. But that's all right. But thanks for hanging out with me, guys. And if you enjoy the stream, make sure to like and subscribe. Turn on notifications to get notified when I go live. Leave a thumbs up, help boost up that algorithm. And of course, if you want to support the channel beyond just pushing the algorithm, there's always membership tiers on YouTube and Rumble, including locals, and that will help the channel grow. So you can always check those out. So definitely one thing I want to start off with is, if anyone has watched me stream games and whatnot, I have been a big proponent of emulation. I'm of the mindset of however I can get the purest, rawest form of the video game I'm playing, minus censorship and all that garbage. That is what I'll try to steer myself towards. And this can actually tie in with all the hubbub about Final Fantasy VII Remake happening. Guess people are pretty salty about, once again, apparently censorship is showcasing in Square Enix, when weirdly, like, they had the one scene with the different outfits, which that made people mad, and then the weirdos who feel like they need to defeminize, strong female characters that have already been established for some whatever weird reason. But we'll get to that shortly. But I want to talk about apparently Nintendo is suing the creators of the Nintendo Switch emulator. Yuzu, I have used Yuzu. I think it's pretty decent. It's pretty okay. But yeah, I saw that and I was like, ooh, let's check that one out. I've got two articles here. One from Good Ol' Niche Gamer. So Nintendo suing creators of Nintendo Switch emulator Yuzu. Oh gosh, I wonder if... Well, it stutters on the screen capturing on my end, but that's all right though. So Nintendo has filed a lawsuit against the creators of Yuzu, the popular Nintendo Switch emulator announced back in 2018. The new lawsuit, which I guess you can view if you go to this link via GameFile, was filed in the District of Rhode Island, noting that Yuzu emulation software illegally circumvents their software encryption and facilitates piracy. So right there, that's going to be the big thing that I think that we know Nintendo has cracked down on, is indeed piracy. We all know MU Paradise. It was an awesome place to gather and collect and preserve old games that you can't get around anymore, and Nintendo had to come in and be little bitches about it. And regardless of what you say in the end, the fact of the matter is a lot of those Nintendo products they weren't making money off of. So, but of course Nintendo has to be the shining example to be anti-piracy. And it'd be nice if someone like Nick or maybe even Legal Mindset would look into the emulation thing, because I think this is very, very interesting. Because like I said, I support emulation simply because one, if you don't want to go the digital route of digitally owning your games, emulation can help you with that, as long as you know. And that's kind of where it falls into the gray area. If you own the game, then theoretically it doesn't matter if you have a ROM version or not, because you have a copy of the game. And along with emulation, emulation allows fan translations and patches that can be applied to games to make them better or to fix problems that people remember in the past. But if you want to revisit it and don't want a butchered down, censored, retarded version of a remake, you can go that route. That's what I like. I want to see whatever it is that the creators wanted to bring, regardless of the culture difference and regardless of if people could find it offensive or not. We're adults, we can handle it. It's one thing for, a kid seeing it, because then that kind of falls on the parents to understand, where and what your kids are playing. But you can't like, if they go to a friend's house, then that parent's different parenting comes into play. So it's a huge, big old mess of stuff. But this is the big thing right here, is the facilitates piracy. That's what they're going to really push for, because they've done so in the past. I think the idea of the emulator is just a cover up. I mean, who knows? Maybe it does actually illegally circumvent their software, or they're claiming there is. Lawyers representing Nintendo went on to note in the lawsuit that The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom was downloaded over 1 million times before its official launch. So what? What does that have to do with the emulator? That has absolutely nothing to do with the emulator or the creator of the emulator. So the way emulation works now for a lot of the... It's weird because, like, what is it now? Like, the PS3 is considered retro now? Or something like that. Something like, I've been seeing memes of, like, the PS3 is now retro, and you're just like, wow, is it really that old? What up, Komanga? Nintendo don't. I know exactly. But with emulators like Yuzu, PS3, I don't think you need it for 360, but some emulators require you to, one, actually get the firmware, and two, actually get the product keys. And the only way you can get those is to actually rip them off of a opponent. I don't know if that's the right word. Actually rip them off or pull them from an actual console. And theoretically, it should, and technically, should be your console. But again, this right here, don't be retarded, Brave. This right here is not the problem. Is not the Yuzu creator's problem. They can't control that. In fact, let's go to the Yuzu website right now, if it's still up. Let's see, download. Because I'm sure, because I've had to do this, and I'm sure there's a warning. Facts, here we go. Yeah, number one, Yuzu is open source. So it's not like they're selling it, and if you bought it, then you got gypped. You got ripped off. Let's see. Keys. Because the main thing is the key. Yeah. Quick start guide. What the heck is that? Oh, that came from... Oh, that was that. I was like, all of a sudden I'm hearing sound. What the hell? Oh, come on. Yeah, here we go. Did you know that Yuzu is a citrus fruit? Yep, I did. Same with, like, there's a Citra emulator. But Yuzu has, they have tutorials over here. Here, I think I can I add another? Oh, I can only stop one screen. That's weird. Anyway, here's the guide. And this is a guide that shows you how to dump your keyframes and how to dump your... Make sure that your Switch is on the latest thing. But as you can see right here, they are giving you a guide to where you are taking your data from your Switch that you bought and you are dumping it and backing it up and using this open source code to play it online. Or not online, on your computer. You might be able to play it online. I don't. But the point is that they go out of their way to showcase and to indicate that that they're expecting you, and they're not responsible of how you come to acquire your key products and stuff like that. They're assuming that you're doing it the right way by taking all the data and the information from the stuff that you own and you bought. But of course, Nintendo's not gonna just buy that. Okay. So they're claiming that it was downloaded over 1 million times before its official launch, and that Yuzu's Patreon, which they used to support to develop the emulator, doubled during that time. So what? So what? I hope that's not the only thing. That doesn't prove anything. So it was So Tears of Kingdom was downloaded over 1 million times. So what? Like digitally, like people bought it and they just downloaded it. Now this could just be the wording of the article, but who cares? I'm wondering how far they looked into Yuzu's Patreon to try to make this claim. The main argument Nintendo / their lawyers are making is that Yuzu's development and business model helps garner piracy. I told you right there. They'll tack on Yuzu emulation software illegally. It's not illegal. I'm pretty confident, and again, I'd love to hear Nick's take or simple mindset, but legal mindset. Excuse me, Andrew. Forgive me. I've always heard that when it comes to the actual emulator, it's an open source code. That's not illegal. But that's what I'm talking about. They're just using that. They're just tacking that on. Their main issue is the piracy. So they're claiming that the business model helps garner piracy, and they're seeking damages for alleged violations of their copyright. They also want the emulator to be shut down entirely. Oh, good luck. Good luck. That's on the internet. Go ahead and shut it down. You go to any online emulator ROM website, it'll be up there. Go to archive.org, a place where it's literally just an archive of the internet. People have that up there. Good fucking luck. Nintendo alleges in the lawsuit that there is no lawful way to use Yuzu to play Nintendo Switch games. Bullshit. Bull fucking shit. That's a lie. No lawful way. Number one, it's open source. That's like the emulator itself. And I've heard people say this. The emulator itself, apparently Nintendo cares. Well, of course they care because they're losing money. It's always about the money. But then again, when you're not listening to what customers want, I guess that could be more Sony and all that stuff. But regardless, when you're not listening to what the customers want, they're gonna yo-ho that shit. Don't ever feel bad for the big companies, especially the ones where you're asking them to do something and they're not listening to you. Yep, good luck. As the emulator requires the decrypting of the game's encryption, protection used so the games can only be used on genuine Switch hardware. But if you're using the data from your Nintendo Switch, it doesn't matter because you bought it. I can feel your passion. My passion for for emulators and stuff like that is because there's been games that actually got a translation, an official translator, translator. There were translators, official translations from people who did fan translations. It never would have seen the light of day if it wasn't literally for piracy. I hate this lie of piracy, of how piracy hurts the industry. It does not hurt the industry. There are studies out there that they desperately try to bury and say that are biased and all that stuff and blah, 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 blah. Piracy does little to no damage for the loss of the big companies. I won't deny the fact that there's some loss that takes place, but piracy is not the main factor. This is also this can also tie in with like the voice acting stuff too. Whenever you hear like voice actors talk about streaming anime illegally and illegal piracy, well, one, you're pushing people towards piracy because your localization is a bunch of garbage and you're not respecting the source material. Number two, unless you have a really good contract signed out and you have a really good agent and all that stuff, you signed out a buyout. You're not getting royalties. Now, people with Dragon Ball Super, or like when the whole Vic thing happened with Dragon Ball Super, they might have gotten royalties from that. But most voice actors, they get a paycheck and that's it. That is it. They're not affected at all by piracy because they got their money when they recorded it. Again, some may have a clause in their contract that allows them to get royalties. A lot of them don't. Eric's talked about this before. So it remains unclear why Nintendo hasn't acted on the folks behind the Yuzu emulator until now. The company previously filed copyright claims against another Switch emulator, Skyline. Ooh, I never heard of Skyline. I've heard of Yuzu and Rejunix, which ultimately got canceled. Oh, it's possible the paid Android version of Yuzu got the ire of Nintendo in comparison. I'm interested in this. Oh gosh, scribed. I guess you can get the full lawsuit here. I might hit up, let Legal Mindset know about this. He might like this. They're trying to make it where you don't own the product you pay for. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. That is 100% exactly what it is. It's because you don't listen to your customers when people are like, we just want to play a good game and we don't want to hear any we're trying to escape here, But now you're trying to justify that escaping into into a false world involves hearing the ideologies from the real world. But in the end, they're, you know,
this guy must be a fag.
That's all they are. A bunch of fags. All right, but the link that they provided to actually see the full document is listed there via game file. What's game file? Oh, I guess it's some Nintendo guy. But we do have another excuse me, damn it. We have another It's what happens when you like don't talk for most of the days until you start streaming. But I did find another one from the Video Game Chronicle that talks about this too. Let me pull it up. Whoosh. So Nintendo says latest Zelda was pirated 1 million times per release as it sues Yuzu emulator creator. So in a complaint spotted by GameFile reporter Steven Totilo, the platform holder argues that the, quote, defendant and its agents are fully aware of the use of Yuzu by others in performing circumvention and in facilitating piracy at a colossal state. Again, this is garbage. And there might be more proof inside the actual like article, but I don't believe this. They're trying to make it where you don't own the product you pay for, including your data. That's soda working. Yep, that's the old soda working. I should do the appropriate voice acting precautions and drink water and suckle or some tea or suckle on some honey. But nope, I went straight for the soda. So Yuzu enables users to play pirated Switch games on Windows, Linux, or Android systems, according to Nintendo. I mean, that's what emulators do. Yes, I don't know where else you would play them. Oh, they're leaving out oh, poor Apple. They're not listed there. Notably, the lawsuit claims that last year's biggest Switch release, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, was pirated over 1 million times in the week and a half before its release in May. Wait. Before its release in May. And that's Yuzu's fault? Who are the people? Why don't you go after the people who like somehow able to release the full game? According to this article, apparently before its release in May. This is worded to where it sounds like it. I don't remember seeing any news about Tears of the Kingdom like being leaked earlier or something like that. What is this talking about? If that's what the lawsuit claims, what is the law? What are they talking about? It was downloaded. It was pirated over 1 million times before its release. Wait, what? How? What, did you like release a demo but just locked off part of the game? And someone went in there and figured out how to unlock it and they just got the whole game? If that's the case, you fucked up, Nintendo. With Yuzu in hand, nothing stops a user from obtaining and playing unlawful copies of virtually any game made for the Nintendo Switch, all without paying a dime to Nintendo or to any of the hundreds of other game developers and publishers making and selling games for the Nintendo Switch, the company says. Well, one, you're not listening to the consumer. You're listening to a fringe minority demanding that women get defeminized, more DEI representation, censorship of the boobs. and all that stuff. So why would people want to pay for censorship when they're adults? Also, this is inaccurate. Any game made for the Nintendo Switch, you can play any game, really. Dude, there's PC cracks out there. Games all the way back to Atari. Like, to me, this is just going to be a never-ending battle. Because how are you going to monitor people who, have the games, have the pirated games? What if you kicked in someone's house because you knew they downloaded a bunch of stuff, and then you saw their collection, and they actually own the copy of the game, and all they did was back it up? In effect, Yuzu turns general computing devices into tools for massive intellectual property infringement of Nintendo and others' copyrighted works. Okay, Yuzu is an open source. It's an open source. From what I kind of learned a little bit about how people go about making emulators is that they actually disassemble a Switch and they go in and they kind of backward engineer everything down to the data. That's how they do it. That's what I've heard people like. This is how they write the coding, is because they literally trial and error a bunch of stuff and they reverse engineer everything back to the coding. Because people are smart like that. I wish I could do that. And then it just tacks off with it being last year's second best-selling game. So nothing. I mean, unless we read the whole lawsuit, that's pretty much all we got about the Nintendo emulator. Well, I guess we'll switching over to Nintendo. We'll kind of look into this real quick. That's Pokemon Legends Z to A announced, or Z to A, if we want to pronounce it correctly. Z to A. So the Pokemon company and developer Game Freak have announced Pokemon Legends Z to A, the latest main release in the franchise. So it's launching sometime in 2025 for the Nintendo Switch. Here's a brief blurb on the game, plus a teaser trailer. An ambitious new entry to the Pokemon video game series will launch on Nintendo Switch 2025. A new adventure awaits within Lumio City. I never played Legends. I'm working towards it. Where an urban redevelopment plan is underway to shape the city into a place that belongs to both people and Pokemon. Belongs to both of them, because we support equality. Kind of turn that down a little bit. Urban Development City Plan. A vision of beautiful coexistence between people and Pokemon. Let me get some schematics of a drawing. I thought that was a fly at first, but it's Pikachu. It's a rat. Okay. See, I kind of fell out of Pokemon. I'm trying to kind of catch myself up, but I don't know. The newer games are just slowly becoming uninteresting enough. I mean, there's some cool new designs. But I know I talked about this in the past. It was like, man, when Pokemon first came out, it was like lightning in a bottle. They knew like they had something on their hands. It always feels like the transition over to 3D can kind of mess with that what you grew up with what it's trying to do now. Oh, that's it. That's kind of a lame trailer, not gonna lie. Interesting though, very interesting. I'm not gonna get this game anytime soon, but if that's something that suits your fancy, to anybody out there, you should go check it out. All right. So let's talk about something that kind of exploded over this past week. And that's with Cristina Vee. Because apparently she has left X for apparent harassment and whatnot. And I kind of looked into it a little bit. And it's all retarded. I made a comment about this before. Is right away, the people who are getting mad over Cristina Vee leaving because she was harassed and bullied, they're the same people who harassed and bullied Vic and anybody who supported Vic. So the self-awareness is like insane. This is such fake outrage. Oh, that doesn't work at all. That looks awful on my end. Why? Why does that look terrible? Can we like minimize this? Oh, it's because it's transparent. Oh, well, that's retardo. Let me see if I can share this. Share a window. I don't want to share a window. I could share this. Here, does that show up? Here we go. Yeah. So this says, hey everybody, I really appreciate the people who researched the false rumors and misinformation that was going around. So apparently it was false and misinformation. And I thank the original posters for retracting. However, reading posts telling me that I should K-word, so unalive myself, I'm a horrible person, etc., took a toll, and I've decided that it's time to permanently delete Twitter, X, for my own mental health. I'm still happy to connect with everyone over on Instagram and TikTok. Thanks for all the fun and memes over the years. Love you all and wish you the best. Please don't go after people who made posts. Everybody is feeling helpless and is trying to do what they feel is right. It's a tough time right now. Let's not spread any more negativity. So we got that, and you go, okay, so what exactly like happened that caused the misinformation? Funny on how it's, when misinformation happens to them, they're like, oh, it's okay, don't attack the people and stuff like that. But that's because, it's the tie-in of the den of snakes. They'll eat each other alive when they can to help booster themselves, or when it actually happens on them, they'll try to show that how like they're the better person of the whole scenario by being like, oh, I understand it's stuff. And it's like, well, you've done it to other people and you were fine with it then. But then, of course, when it happens to you, then it's all, oh, I don't know. I remember talking with Cristina and following her, like, I actually way back in the day in the MySpace stage. I remember when she was doing like fan dub and stuff like that. And I chatted with her a little bit over back on MySpace. That's how I remember knew who Cristina was. All right, so apparently this is the original tweet here. Update, Cristina Vee is officially removed from the list. Okay, so apparently there's a list. And here we go. This is the reason why. As she has participated in Strike Week and has heavily shown her support for Palestine. So apparently the misinformation that was happening is someone declared that she was pro-Israel. Apparently that was wrong. And so because they thought it was wrong, they put her apparently on a list to go target and harass her. And then down here you go, I deeply apologize for the mistake I have made. I wish that I could have known sooner. Well, it doesn't matter because you got her to leave X, which, whatever. You've kind of succeeded of what you wanted to do. So who knows if this apology is actually like means anything behind this where is me cake avatar or whatever. And I remember seeing this too because apparently they were saying she was pro-Israel. And then she was getting at Starbucks, and then apparently Starbucks was and then she posted like a picture of her getting Starbucks. And then people were telling her they were pro-Israel. And then she's like, well, I'm going to join the strike and not go there anymore. First and foremost, if you're listening to a bunch of people like saying don't... First of all, it's Starbucks, which I find is hilarious. So you have a woke store that's, I guess... Well, I don't know if they do, but at the time showcased that they supported Israel. And then because it was a woke store, you go there. And then you find out that, no, they're not. They need to support Palestine. And so you leave. Like, it just goes to show on how these people have no concept of a solid foundation or a solid belief. They just have to go to wherever the most popularity or the most outraged portion of it is. But again, we've seen statements like this. She's the list of where we'll put people who don't support Palestine, and then we'll go seek them out and bully them and harass them and campaign them until they off themselves or something like that. But going off of what she was saying with like apparently people telling her to unalive herself and whatnot. Again, these are the same people who were perfectly fine saying that stuff to Vic. Didn't Tara Strong get canceled too? See, this is the hilariousness of it, of the whole thing. All right, so this guy apparently elaborates a little bit more about it. So apparently there's a list that you'll be put on if you don't support Palestine or if you're middle of the road. Look at that. If you do not... Oh my gosh. Dude. Ratsies. Ratsies are we're sending the Gestapo on you. God. These people are scum. They're douchebags. They're assholes. Gosh. Because again, they have no morals, no standards whatsoever. So, and think there's crime and okay. So apparently there's a list that you'll be put on if you don't support Palestine or if you're middle of the road and think there's crimes and tragedy on both sides. There is. I mean, if we're talking about war here, there's going to be unfortunate casualties on both sides. Like like that just happens. You're hoping none of the soldiers like are murking innocent civilians and stuff like that, but it's going to happen. Now, if you're talking about like the actual battle and stuff like that, that's a whole nother thing. And as someone on scripture, Israel does play one of the main parts during the end times. So sorry, Israel's not going anywhere according to scripture. Oh my gosh. They put her on the list due to, quote, misinformation. Apparently, the list is being used for a list of targets for justified harassment campaigns. I kind of scrabbled as much as I could together because I don't know if this is one of the cases. The main thing is what are they saying that was misinformation? Like, was there actually a support of something that was misunderstood and then it all, got turned upside down and whatnot? I don't know. But this sort of thing reveals so much stuff. One is how infested the voice acting industry is with people who have to just cater to their quote fandom or cater to the ideology and stuff. Because if she was getting heat when she went to Starbucks and they learned that Starbucks is actually pro-Israel or something like that, now all of a sudden you can't work or you can't go there anymore. I don't know where they're gonna go because Starbucks was the only woke place that would satisfy their fancy, I guess, with their grandes and all that retarded shit. But you have that. Then you had people making harassment campaigns and just going out and just constantly barraging you with stuff like that. And it's because they don't have any morals and standards to live by because it's X. X, you can do all this harmful stuff. You can be an abuser without leaving the bruises, is what it is. But my whole point about this whole situation is the hypocrisy and the social awareness of people being upset that due to misinformation, Cristina pretty much got bullied off of X when they used those exact same bully tactics and extremeness to go after Vic and anybody who supported Vic. But you know, Vic Christian man bad. Cristina Vee, an unfortunate soul. An unfortunate soul because of misinformation. That was pretty much that. I just thought it was so ridiculous. And of course, like, you know, no one should be harassed for having your belief, you know, having beliefs and stuff like that, but these people don't give a shit. And the unfortunate thing is people like Cristina Vee cater to these people. That's the thing. Is look at that. She even made a tweet apologizing like for these people. Don't apologize for them. Don't apologize to them. Don't give them any apology. It was the same thing with Vic. Don't apologize to these people. These people didn't care about it. And even when they found out that they were wrong about it, you're going to have some who still won't care about it, or the damage has been done. Like this. That's why you just nip the bud now and you just don't even cater to the people to begin with, regardless if they're fans of yours. So fucking stupid. Well, I guess since we're on the subject of the voice acting industry, here's something that was mentioned yesterday. That's former Lovely Complex localizer reveals Western anime dub studios don't care if you make things nice or more gay or add more representation. So, as if recent months had not made it already very apparent, and this is from Bounding into Comments, as if recent months had not made it already very apparent that the Western Japanese to English localization scene needs a massive reform, a former localizer for Discotek's dub of Lovely Complex has admitted that the changing of creators' original works for ideological reasons is not just a common phenomena, but one that is openly allowed by industry higher-ups. Yeah, the industry higher-ups need to be removed immediately, and as well as the localizers. This confirmation of the industry's worst habit was provided to the public by YouTube Brandon Jello Apocalypse Blabber, who recently lost his position as a Discotek localizer after he publicly admitted via a lengthy and self-aggrandizing Patreon post to butchering Lovely Complex's English dub simply because he did not like the source material. Oh, well, I'm glad you got fired. So go fist yourself. Asking by a reader, in response to his admission, was there ever any pushback in terms of accurately portraying the characters? Like, were you beholden to anyone to retain the integrity of Lovely Complex? Or was it more of a, oh yes, please exercise as much transphobia, oh my gosh, as you can from this? Thank you, Blabber proudly declared. The disco guys mostly let Lenti do what she wanted. It helps the most of the quote accurate character portrayal in the sub is comprised of weird, inconsistent character tics that never amount to anything, he explained. Take Nobuko's anti-trans radar. Oh my gosh, and he's using this lingo? Dude, I am so glad you got removed. That comes up maybe 3 times. She seemingly hates Sekio. Or Seko. For no reason. Never explains why, and then Seko walks up to her and says, "Nice bracelet." After that, Nobuko decides to be friends with her. The original character trait never amounted to anything, never made sense, never came up again, and wasn't funny in the first place. Who cares? That's how the story goes, argued Blabber. So changing it to an equally baffling "I hate my fashion rival," oh, never mind, I like her now because she complimented my bracelet, it's just a lateral move, really. No, it's not. It's... You literally just admitted that it wasn't funny. And literally in the latter sentence. Like, I don't care if you don't find it funny. If that's what the writing was and you can fit it in the mouth flaps, then you leave it alone. Character trait never amounted to anything, but it was there. If it never amounted to anything, then it wouldn't be there to begin with, but it was there. Oh, brother. Further, he revealed, another change we made is the bet Otani and Risa make. In early episodes, the main plot centers around the two of them trying to get a boy/girlfriend before the other. The localizer detailed. This bet is the driving force behind episodes 2 and 3, I believe, but after that, the plot thread is dropped entirely, even though nobody won. We added a few more mentions of that bet several episodes later and had them refer back to it to make the story flow a little more smoothly. Continuing in his revelations, Blabber then informed the public, of note, most anime distributors do tend to ask that you don't advertise changes like making things less transphobic. Why are you even working on... This is what I don't get. If you're so appalled about all the transphobia and all this and all that, why are you working? Well, we know the reason why. It's because you don't actually like the industry. You're just there to get brownie points, and then when, I don't know, some critical acclaim comes by, you can pat yourself on the back and be like, I did that. This is because large swaths of the anime community are racist, sexist, transphobic, etc., and will descend upon a company's social media page for weeks for the strangest things, he asserted. You just described yourself, because you're literally analyzing you literally just said in here, making things less transphobic. So that means you're looking into this show with that in mind. You're analyzing everything based on, sex, gender, race, and whatnot. That's literally all of the things that you claim that you're not. I mean, this has been reiterated so many times that it gets old, but it's the same script constantly being repeated. This is because, okay, we already read that. He asserted Discotek added a content warning on one of their discs, pussies, and got flack for it. Good, because no one needs a warning. So they're understandably a little skittish now. Funny/crunchy works like this too. Gosh dang it. Again, this is what happens when you edit stuff for the majority of your day and you don't speak at all. I need to do like vocal warm-up or something. So, too long. But TLDR, most anime distributors don't care if you make things nicer or more gay or add more representation, he said. They just ask that you don't flaunt the changes or use buzzwords. You're generally not allowed to say hot-button words like sexism or patriarchy anymore, yet Jamie Markey said it. In most funny dubs, yeah, because they got shit on. Unless it's already in the subtitles. Because those are words that brain-dead weebs get mad about and share their various image boards. Wow, this guy is such a fag. Why? Gosh. Then leave. You're mad because you're being told to like. It's like the companies are like seeing the backlash. So they're like, okay, we need to tone this down a little bit, but we'll still kind of be secretive about it. And then this guy's like, no, it's gotta be in your face. Gosh. Ediel, settle down, Mary. Nay, I shan't. Unless you're referring to this guy. However, Blabber clarified, you can say things like chauvinist or chauvinist because that isn't on the buzzword list. Is there? Ooh, I wonder if there. I mean, there's definitely a blacklist already. I wonder if there's actually I want to know what the buzzword list is too. That'd be dope. You just need to use words that aren't pre-programmed to hate. Oh my gosh. Go fuck off, dude. He concluded the people who get mad about this don't actually have thoughts about these things. No, they do have thoughts. Dude, the projection here, amazing. Or know why they hate them. They've just been told to hate specific words because those are the SJW words. It's very embarrassing. LMAO. Oh, brother. Amazing. So later proving that his butchering was motivated, at least in, quote, large part, out of spite, when pressed by a separate reader, wonder how long it'll take for all of the, quote, it's not true to the original fuckers to come out of the woodwork to be like woke translator ruining my anime, Blabber proudly proclaimed. As for not true to the original fuckers, I don't care what they think. Well, then you don't care about the story, and then you deserved 100% to be fired. Idiots who assume all dubs are bad and all subs are good, or vice versa, don't actually have any analytical skills. What does all dubs bad or all subs good? I can point to plenty of good dubs, and that was back in the 90s, early 2000s, because none of this stuff was in there. Any of this stuff was kept behind the scenes and worked out that way, and that's how it should be. But these bozos, they're the ones that are making this mindset that this retard's talking about part of the criteria, part of the job description. And if you don't follow that 100%, you're not allowed to be in there. But they themselves were never cared about anime and that stuff. They infested it. The localizer turned up his nose. They decided they're going to hate our work no matter what. No, we hate woke work. I mean, that's a given. We hate it because it's clear that you guys hate it. We actually already saw a post for some dumbass praising the original subtitle from episode 1 when it says big or small. If you got a dick, you're a man, right? Because he read that as anti-trans. Okay. And was happy the localization team didn't drag and made the line, he continued to condescend. This particularly swing referring to the Dragon Maid dub controversy. Lots of sweaty racist nerd boys. See, now he's just going into personal attacks, which is what they always do. But it's fun to poke fun of them as well. About the one because they don't want woke politics in their titty show, even though that dialogue was literally the character going, here's why I like to dress with my tits out. The mental gymnastics of this guy is insane. Very, very funny that person's praised anti-trans rhetoric in one of the most famous examples of early trans rep in anime, whipped the most trans dub of all time, he ultimately concluded. Whoops! Dummy should have watched the rest of the show first before showing his whole ass. I want to see what comments there are, because it's always fun to read the comments. One of the few nice things about the woke is that they have zero company loyalty and are all too happy to throw the company they work for under the bus. We need to get more interviews with Disney employees giving out truth of all the stuff they're doing, which Iger denies, even as we have videos coming out. Oh, why did it like hit it? Oh, there we go. Coming out of his own words in contradiction. This would be a fantastic time for a translation company to come out with the as accurate as possible slogan. Very true. Yet another reason to sail the seven seas and just watch fans translation till these companies learn that we want faithful to the source translation. They deserve to get nothing. If the woke could make decent stories, they wouldn't have to buy up IPs. This isn't like asking Michelangelo to do his own version of the Mona Lisa. The woke have no talent, and the more changes they make, the worse the final project is. Very true. I've been saying that for a while. That's why the multiverse and like time travel and like alternate universe is the best thing that ever happened for them. Because then they can go and bastardize everything and then try to push it that their version's the superior version where everything originated from. Yes, the woke would draw a mustache on the Mona Lisa and call it an original trans painting. Very nice. Very good. Like I said, I don't think this was going to be a super long show. So let's wrap it up here with good old Final Fantasy VII. With 4 years after release, Square Enix censor Tifa's cowgirl outfit in Final Fantasy VII Remake. So there, obviously, we all remember the big backlash for the changes of Tifa in the first, or part 1, I guess. I forget, is it like... I have the game. I should know the title of it. Is it Final Fantasy, what, 7 Remake Part 1? And now this is Final Fantasy 7 Remake Rebirth Part 2 or something? So going down that Rambo sort of setup. While many fans had hoped that recent movies by Square Enix were a sign that their infamous ethics department was no more, a recent and censorious update to Tifa Lockhart's Nebelheim, I guess, character model in the 4-year-old Final Fantasy VII Remake suggests this is far from the case. I've only played the remake. I do plan on playing the original, though. So I'm able to separate the two. So I'm not as upset about any of that stuff. Or I'm not that attached to it to be as upset as many others, but pushed out to all versions of the game on February 26th. This update for Final Fantasy VII Remake released with only a brief patch note indicating that its dev team had made, quote, fixes to several bugs. However, fans quickly discovered that Square Enix's changes ran deeper than simple coding updates. In a thread which was unsurprisingly later locked by moderators discussing the exact content of the 8GB update, Steam user Barar Pack noticed that the patch also edited Tifa's flashback outfit to show less cleavage. Sure enough, during Cloud Chapter 7 flashback to her role in the Nebelheim reactor incident, Tifa's cowgirl outfit now has her previously exposed cleavage now covered up with an undershirt. So, there you go. This brings her model in line with how it appears in the demo for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and suggests that sometime in the 4 years since Remake hit shelves, Square Enix felt her appearance had to be corrected. Pussies. Combined with the recent censorship of the game's panty-stealing scene, many fans have taken this remake patch as proof positive that the company's aforementioned ethics department is alive and well. First unveiled to the world in 2019 as a remake, so Tetsuya Nomura confirmed that Tifa's chest had been tightened in Remake based on the department's recommendation. They should have told the department to go fuck themselves. Square Enix originally claimed that its only function was to, quote, evaluate game content to make sure it aligned with the anticipated age rating standards across the globe. Oh, give me a break. However, a 2020 job listing revealed that the ethics department's duties are also entailed checking all game expressions, including scenarios, illustrations, design, and effects, to ensure that they do not contain expression that are discriminatory, prejudiced, or offensive. Cleavage is not offensive. God. Dude, these people do not... they don't like women because they're ugly. I need to be in the game. As noted above, the censorious move unfortunately comes just after a pair of recent development had given rise to fan hope that Square Enix has shuttered the department's entire operation. Yeah, the whole, this outfit. So the first of these developments came in January of this year when, per a report from Niche Gamer, it was discovered that the ethics department, women can't have tits. Apparently not. Department recruitment page had been taken down and still remains offline. The second was the reveal of Tifa's wardrobe options for her upcoming trip to Costa del Sol in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Yeah, this. In addition to the casual beachwear worn by the girls in the game's final trailer, a clip shared by Japanese video game news outlet Famitsu revealed that Tifa, as well as Aerith, would also have the option to hit the beach in a particularly flattering bikini. Famitsu. Huh. I'll have to remember that. I shall highlight that, or I shall check that out. Hopefully they're based. Fortunately, despite the fact that such normally presumed ethics department targets as Tifa's a deep cleavage and Cloud clearly gawping at her chest made it into Rebirth, it now seems their inclusion was more of a fluke than an actual sign of changes within Square Enix. How did they let that? Because I think this is more... Dude, this is way more exposing than the one up here. Not that I'm complaining. Unfortunately, despite the fact that such normally presumed ethics department targets as Tifa's deep cleavage and Cloud... Or, I already read that. So 7 is set to cut its way exclusively onto the PlayStation 5 console, at least until May 29th, 2024, on February 29th. Of course they did. The frustrating bit is that people still blindly bought Part 2 of the demake after Square threw some ugly swimsuits at the culture junkies. Giving them money is funding the ethics department. I find the ethics department to be offensive. Therefore, I demand that it be dismantled so that Square Enix may cater to my cultural sensitivities. Won't bend the knee. Good job. Yeah, this is ridiculous. So many people have talked about it too. They just don't like women. Women need to be unappealing. They need to make sure to control the male gaze by defeminizing them, making them have more manly features, censoring all this stuff. You know, because some fat land whales are upset because why can't they look like me? Dude, I got some flack on Twitter or on X for calling the April O'Neil a beached land whale from what is it? Learning the Law, the manga lawyer. Dude, I got some huge flag. Probably like some of the biggest like responses I ever have. That tweet blew up. I pissed a lot of people off. Of course, they had to go for like personal attacks and stuff like that, but that's to be expected. We the gamers should be the ethics department. Very true. That or the parents. Like at least understand what's going on. And then if your kids are going over to to one of their friends' house and you know their parents, see what they're playing, like check up and stuff like that. But it's the line of how far are we gonna go with like protecting our kids and like seeing what they're ingesting and stuff. But a lot of it now, people are using media to like sit their kids down so they can take a break. Crazy. Well, there you go. Like I said, a short stream. We got a lot of articles put in. My very transparent and first-time responsive. Insane. But I'm hoping that you guys enjoy the show. Remember to leave a like and subscribe. Turn on notifications to get notified when I go live, whether that's game streaming or this show, the Power Up Podcast. If you want to support the channel, check out the membership tiers and locals. So you guys have a good rest of your night. Take care. God bless. And I'll catch you guys later on the flip side. Peace.